Welcome to the lecture about variability. I expect you to be able to use and interpret box plots in this section of the course. I also expect you to be able to describe what variance and standard deviation are. You also need to be able to compute the variance and the standard deviation for a data set. So we'll get started here. When we're talking about variability, we are talking about how the scores are organized across the range. Look at the first number line with the red data points. There's a great deal of variability in where those points fall. Now look at the second number line with the blue dots. Those are very evenly dispersed across the range. All of this is part of describing the variability in a set of data points or a data set. The easiest piece to understand, as your textbook pointed out, is the range. It just tells you the number of units from the lowest to the highest on the scale. So look at the first number line with the green data points. This represents how many minutes it took for the students to complete a quiz. The range went from a student who needed 10 minutes to a student who needed 60 minutes, and everything in between. The range is the maximum, which is 60, minus the minimum, which is 10, plus 1. So the range is 51. See if you can figure out the range for the purple data set. The maximum is 55 and the minimum is 20. Hopefully you came up with a range of 36. In other words, there are 36 increments starting with 20 and marching all the way up to and including 55 in this data set. Range is useful, but it really doesn't tell us much about how the data points fall along the range. The range is the same for both of these two data sets, the green one and the purple one, but they are very different data sets, so you can see how limited range is. In research, we often present variability with a graphic known as a box plot, called a box from its distinctive shape. The box plot shows you the maximum of the range, in this case probably about 52. It also shows you the minimum, in this case about 10. The rectangle represents the scores from the 25th percentile at the bottom of the rectangle, and that's the 25th percentile is the top of the first quartile, and the 75th percentile, or the third quartile. That basically you're taking a percentile of 100 and you're breaking it into 4 quartiles. So it's showing you the middle two. These are called the reasonable values. The line in the middle of the rectangle indicates the median score. A box plot is kind of like a frequency polygon tipped on its side. If there are a few really extreme scores, they can also be represented on the box plot. These are known as outliers. And you put the dot goes outside of where the minimum and maximum are. And your textbook gives you an idea of how those are figured. So for box plots, I expect you to be able to pull the 5-number summary from any given box plot. So you should be able to look at a box plot graph and be able to pull out those 5 numbers that your textbook talks about.